Hello everyone. It's been a while since I've actually done one of these videos, and it's taken relentless rocket attacks against Israel to make me, saddle up the tripod again and do one of these videos. Trust me, I didn't want to do a video, but I'm really pissed off. And I gotta warn you, there's gonna be a lot of F-bombs in this, more F-bombs than actual bombs, hopefully. Because I'm really fucking pissed off. Really fucking pissed off, and I'm gonna talk. And you don't have to listen, but if you do listen, I encourage you to listen, okay? The situation at the moment is inexcusable. I'm absolutely disgusted, not just, obviously, with those who are trying to murder me and my kids and my family and millions of other Israelis, and not just Jewish people, Muslims, Christians, Bedouins, you name it, all citizens of Israel under direct rocket fire. No, I'm disgusted with the people who at best are indifferent to it, and at worst are even justifying it. And let me tell you, those people are disproportionately represented by those who claim to be human rights activists. You know, the BLM crowd, the people that care about human rights. Bull fucking shit, you care about human rights. You are disgusting and you're morally reprehensible, and I'm going to call you out on it. What is happening here is not... on one hand, it's not so simple as a hashtag that you would like to make it. On the other hand, it's not really that complicated. Let me educate you for a second. What we have here are terrorists firing rockets at population centers of millions of people. Again, some of the dead have been Arab and Muslim people. My brothers. You don't care about them. You just hate Jews. You really do, and I'm going to explain in a minute why. That's what's going on here. It's actually pretty simple. Now, if you want to argue that this was all caused by some Israeli actions, okay, let's take Sheikh Jarrah, okay? Some Arab families were going to be evicted from some houses in Jerusalem. I can do a whole video on why this was a legal case, how this was a legal case. These properties were Jewish owned. The Supreme Court offered a compromise solution that the Arab tenants would be able to pay rent and stay there. They were going to accept it. They refused because the fucking PA, whispered into the lawyer's ears and wanted to make a big political issue of this for their own ends. And then they refused. Okay? Let's put that aside for a second, okay? I know the optics and the visuals don't look good for Israel there, but I could debate anyone, anytime, any place on that. That's not the point. Even if you believe that that was wrong of Israel to do that, let's put that aside. Even if you believe it was wrong, how on earth did you fucking get to the place to think it's okay to fire rockets because of this grievance that you have? Do you know how many people think it's okay to fire rockets? Do you know how traumatized my kids are? We don't even live in Tel Aviv and other places where they've had so many red alerts. We've had one red alert where I had to rush my children to the bomb shelter. Why shouldn't I be fucking angry right now? So many of you out there, and the people who are listening to this probably agree with me because they follow my page. But if by any chance you guys have shared it with some people that might not agree with me, I want those people who might not agree with me to take a good, long, hard look at yourselves. How did we get to a point where you think it's okay that rockets are being fired on people, civilians, because of a grievance? If you want to go down that fucking rabbit hole, let me tell you something. Us Jewish people have been treated the shittiest out of all people on the planet. And, I didn't make the Olympics. I always wanted to make the Olympics because, I'm into sports. Never was good enough. And I certainly am not going to make the oppression Olympics right now. That's not my point, okay? I'm not comparing whose oppression is bigger. But I'm just trying to make a point here. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, if a grievance is allowed to be resolved through genocide, genocidal murder, then we have every right to take out most countries on the planet. But we don't do that because it's wrong, it's evil, it's reprehensible. But somehow what the Palestinian Arabs, the Hamas, and the other terrorist organizations, I don't paint all the Palestinian Arabs in the same brush, okay? Somehow that's okay because they're pissed off because some family's got evicted through a court case, a legal court case that you don't happen to agree with. You know, I smell anti-Semitism. I'm sorry, me and many other people think there's a double standard going on here. If you think that this is okay. And you know what? Another thing I want to say is this. This isn't a religious war. I used to think that maybe it was a religious war, but since I've gotten to know many, many good Muslims, okay, let me tell you a little story for a minute. There haven't been many people that have reached out to me to say, are you okay? But one of my dearest friends is a Muslim, Danny from Dubai, that he has been one of the most, let's say, frequent messages to me saying, are you okay? Are your kids okay? He's a devout Muslim. This isn't about religion. Yes, I know Hamas are a religious organization. They want to kill every Jew on the planet. They happen to be Muslim. But do you know how many good Muslims there are? How many good Arabs? And so many people are trying to paint this as Arabs versus Jews. And yes, there have been lynchings here going on. There have been some very nasty Arab people lynching Jews all over the place. And there have been some very nasty Jewish people who've tried to lynch some Arabs. Granted, that's less frequent, but I condemn them wholeheartedly. They're disgusting and they don't speak in my name. But this, do you know how many good Muslim Arab people who are under attack as well? They're my brothers and sisters. They're just as being so strong in their condemnation of what's going on as I am. Okay, so don't dare paint this as a Jew versus Arab or Israel versus Arab thing. It's not. Now, as I mentioned, I have my friend, my Muslim friend, and he's not the only one who has reached out to me. Do you know how many people, BLM activists and so-called human rights activists, even within my own family, that haven't reached out once? You disgust me. I'm not going to mention you by name, but if you happen to come across this video, you know who you are. You're fucking disgusting, and I'm not going to put up with this anymore. So if you don't stand with Israel and with morality and with civilians who are being targeted by terrorists, you fucking unfriend me. I don't want to see you again. I don't want to hear you again. You disgust me. That's all I've got to say right now. I'm really pissed off. This is black and white. Terrorists versus civilians. What side are you on?